In other words, we come together in order to be safe. And that mission of safety is led by an extraordinary collection of human beings who put themselves and their bodies and their lives forward to protect their fellow human beings. I'm so grateful to be the mayor of Los Angeles, a town whose police department represents the highest aspirations that we have for one another. And as you know, for the last month, I have poured myself into the most important personnel decision that I probably will make as mayor. After Chief Charlie Beck announced his retirement, I had no intention of hurrying a decision. My goal was not to be fast, but was to make sure this process was done the right way. That meant spending deep time with each of the candidates that the Police Commission, after it finished its role and forwarded 3 names to me, to spend time with each of these candidates, to sit in on an interview with each of them as they talk to council leadership, to spend one-on-one time with them, time with my team and my staff, to talk to their friends, to talk to folks around this city, religious, labor, community, law enforcement leaders, and everyday Angelenos who knew the extraordinary men we had before. One thing was very clear to me very quickly. We had 3 exceptional men who were the candidates to become the next chief. And the deeper I got into the process, the deeper my respect grew for each one of them. I have come to profoundly respect the police officers, the leaders, and the human beings that each of them is. They are in no way typical in their life stories or the professional trajectories. I felt in the middle of this process almost like writing a letter to Los Angeles about how lucky we were to have 3 people who didn't grow up necessarily with any law enforcement officials in their family, who overcame personal hardships, who were very much the underdogs and the unexpected, but found their home and their dreams in becoming Los Angeles police officers, and who worked their lives to contribute to this town and to the safety of people in this city and this state. These are loyal, intelligent, driven, and caring people, each one with great spouses and friends and family. In Bill Scott, I found that San Francisco has a visionary chief, someone who is the very embodiment of integrity, a change agent who is helping to both evolve and revolutionize policing in San Francisco and in the United States at this moment. A man whose story is incredible. Born in the South, he saw law enforcement officials turn hoses on his family members who were standing up for civil rights. But he believed he could make a difference from within. And he's been one of the finest officers we've ever had in the Los Angeles Police Department. And San Francisco is exceptionally lucky to have him and his leadership. They have somebody in Bill Scott who is exceptionally caring. He's had deep vision and experience that is helping lead that city forward. And he's well beloved up there. And our loss today is certainly San Francisco's continuing gain. In Bobby Arcos, we have here in Los Angeles a man with a rare heart, an undying loyalty to his people under his command, a respect from his peers, and one of the most empathetic and visionary police professionals I have ever met. And he's a real LA success story. Moving here as a kid, growing up with a single mother, in Atwater Village, always seeking out leadership opportunities, recognized in high school, John Marshall High School, in his military service, and throughout his career for his exceptional emotional intelligence and command presence. He's done amazing work on homelessness, on immigration, on crime reduction, and in deepening our ties to the community. And then finally we have in Mike Moore, one of, if not the most qualified law enforcement professional in America. Acknowledged by everyone for his exceptional intelligence, known as always being one of the hardest working guys in any room. He's faced some of the toughest assignments at some of the most key moments of reform and renewal in this department. And he has an intense loyalty to this city and to this department. And I've seen him evolve with this department over the last decade and a half as an elected official. He's served in almost all the major command staff assignments of the LAPD. And so in these 3 candidates, I found an uncannily similar vision of the department and the future. This is a difficult moment for law enforcement in American history. We see rapid change happening from technology to the expectations that people have. We've done a pretty good job of keeping the peace, but I believe we all can acknowledge we need to do more to build that peace. It's a stressful moment for police officers as technology changes, as they wear cameras on their chest. National news stories seize the bad news moments, and they wonder if people will hear the good news stories that happen every single day from their courage. It's a stressful moment for youth who get caught up in the criminal justice system, for communities of color who still feel too far of a gap between those who police their communities and those neighborhoods where they live. But here in Los Angeles, we have taken brave steps, not because we're better than any other city, but because we experienced some of the trauma we see in other places earlier. And we looked at ourselves and decided, how can we be better? And we know that that is an incomplete mission. And in order to love and to live here in Los Angeles, we need to write the next chapter of LAPD. Too many police officers in this country don't feel supported. Too many communities of color still feel disconnected. And all three candidates laid out clear visions that, to me, made this decision even more and more difficult. In some ways, this was the most difficult decision I've faced, and one of the easiest, because I knew whoever I picked would be great for this department. In the end, it was a tough decision, because I knew that Bill Scott, Bobby Arcos, and Mike Moore were all ready for this job. But today, I am proud to announce that I am appointing Michael Moore as the 57th Chief of Police for the Los Angeles Police Department. In his most recent role as First Assistant Chief, he's been right there at Chief Beck's side, helping to deliver and develop a progressive agenda for policing. In addition to his role as First Assistant Chief, Chief Moore directed LAPD's Office of Operations and doesn't need to hit the ground running. He's already running and can continue at the front of the line. A more than 36-year veteran of the department, he took over Rampart after the Rampart scandal. I've seen him deal with difficult issues, whether it was the impounding of cars and working with the immigrant community, and his strong commitment to civil rights, or the way that he is looking for the next generation of police officers to come up. I've seen his work personally. No one works harder, no one reads more, and no one has a greater breadth of experience. And I know he loves this department as we do, and loves this city as we do too. This is a good moment this year. Crime is coming down. We have body cameras, the largest department in the country to have them on all patrol officers, de-escalation training that each one of them has gone through, an implicit bias. We've expanded our domestic abuse response teams. We've stood up command centers to go where crime is, gotten guns off our street, and grown our patrol hours in this past year by 500,000. But the next chapter is clear: to deepen our community ties and to reduce crime even further in this city by supporting our officers and investing in the young people of our city. And I expect nothing less from Mike Moore: to bring crime down further, to expand our community relationships even deeper, to improve the working conditions of our officers, and to help reduce the loss of life on our streets. And I know that Mike will not do this on his own. He will do it with a team of exceptional command officers, civilian employees, and the rank and file officers who are the lifeblood of the department that he will lead. Lastly, Mike is a doer and a dreamer, a reformer and a rethinker. And I have heard how excited he is to listen to his city and his department in the next few weeks as he charts out the next chapter for this department. On a personal note, I love this city, and I want to tell every single Angelino that they can be safe where they live, in their community, on their block. And I want this department to be the very best that it can, and the best in the United States. I thank Charlie Beck for all that he has done, and this isn't the day where we will sing his praises. I've been doing that once a week for the last few weeks, and we're going to save that for later in the month. But I will note that this is the first time that a sitting chief has been at the press conference of his successor in modern memory. Either discord, disaster, or early departure has prevented that in the past. And it speaks volumes about Charlie. It speaks volumes about this commission. It speaks volumes about this department and Mike Moore, that this leadership and continuity of the department allows us to have the 56th chief handing the baton to the 57th. We have an amazing department, and one chapter is coming to a close. I can't wait for the next chapter to begin. And with that, let me present to you your next police chief, Mike Moore.
Good afternoon. I will take some advice from the mayor, as I'm sure I will in the coming days as well, and that is I want to take a moment just to breathe and just recognize the significance and to explain to everyone here in Los Angeles and wherever this message may transport itself how humbled I am by this very moment. To Mayor Garcetti, I owe you a forever debt of gratitude. This has been a, as often said, humbling process, but I have to say the most comprehensive process that I have ever been through. And I know that my two counterparts, Chief Bobby Arcos and Chief Bill Scott, will share with that belief. And we don't say that as a complaint, but actually twofold. One, to honor the extraordinary investment that this mayor has taken to ensure that this pick, that this selection, that his nomination is deserving of a city, or that the city is deserving of hearing from that individual how qualified he or she is. And just his efforts to not only test and quiz and challenge us to identify the future, as well as to articulate our past and how it applies. But his outreach across Los Angeles has been nothing short of extraordinary. In every community of every makeup throughout Los Angeles, I know he's reached out and spoken with people. A number of them have spoken with me and shared with me their remarks. I want to say to the other two candidates, each of whom I've known for decades. Two men that I have tremendous respect for. Bill Scott, as the chief of San Francisco, as Mayor Garcetti explained, you will not find a better human being, a more sincere, down-to-earth, true leader whose compassion for the people he serves is unmatched. To Deputy Chief Robert Arcos, Bobby Arcos, Central Bureau, and for a man that I've known for 2 decades, both on the department and off duty. He's a better baseball player than I am. And we've shared much of the challenges of Los Angeles in policing it and providing for it, and learned from each other the leadership of this great department. And I look forward to his continued part of LAPD, and as we move forward, to involving him at even greater levels within the organization to be part of my team. It's critical that he, as he's gone through this process, that I benefit from him, the added insight that he's garnered, just as I've garnered insight from going through this process myself. I'd like to thank the Board of Police Commissioners. Today we're joined by Commissioner Matt Johnson and Commissioner Steve Soboroff. I've said that backwards, so my apologies, but as the Commission President and Vice President, two men that, as part of the 5, similarly tasked with identifying the best qualified candidates. And in their outreach in defining what that would be, conducted extensive surveys and outreach to communities throughout Los Angeles. And I really truly believe helped shape not just a job description, but an understanding for each candidate that submitted their resume, submitted their efforts to be this chief, to understand what the citizens of this city needed and wanted in their next chief. The questions in the process caused each of us to rigorously examine our past as well as to articulate plans for the future. I thank you for your diligence and your commitment to ensuring that this selection, that the individual who you pressed forward, the 3, were the best qualified of everyone submitted. As for myself, in the last 5 months, I have to say that I've never been more invested in trying to understand a city, both inside and out. While I've been with this department for more than 36 years and I've grown within it and had my errors and made my mistakes, but also seen some of our brightest moments, this last 4 or 5 months have given me an opportunity to deepen that understanding and bring a fresh set of eyes and ears to the circumstances we find ourselves in. And in those communities that I listened to, I heard their concerns and I listened with an open mind to understand how can we do even better. I clearly heard from those communities their support of our men and women of this city. continually in each of the conversations. But I also heard from them a desire that we be more engaged, that we be more deeply invested, that we would be in church pews, and they would be in corners, and we would be in schools, and we would be in encounters that would allow us to deepen our understanding of their needs and also our understanding and appreciation for their perceptions of the impact we have in each of their communities, both good and bad. And lastly, also to find ways in which to improve that mutual understanding of each other. Likewise, I listened to the people of our own department, the men and women, sworn and civilian, and asked them how they see the department, where they see themselves in the department, where they see the department going forward. What have we done well, but also what could we do better? And as I've grown up through this organization, I could validate some of their findings, some of their remarks. In other instances, it was kind of water on my face in the sense of waking me up and saying, I need to take a fresh look at this. In the days ahead, as the chief having been nominated by the mayor and the hopes of confirmation by the city council, I look to continue that listening campaign, as the mayor indicated. This is not me coming in with an agenda of where we're going to go, as much as it is with, as we build trust and improve the safety of Los Angeles and improve the lives of the men and women of this department, how can we do better? And I need the people of this great department to know that today is a day that they get to step forward and be heard again. Whether they feel like they have been in the past is not relevant. What's relevant is today, as I take on this new position, that they know that the organization has an opportunity to reset, an opportunity to reinvent, an opportunity to reinvigorate. Not as a matter that something has been done wrong, but rather as a matter of yet renewal, of us continuing to go on to the next chapter, the next generation of greatness. I also look forward to identifying those within the organization who, as I give that challenge, step forward into that discussion, because their lives, the leaders for the next generation of LAPD, those minds, those spirits, those energies is where the next generation of the leadership of this department will spring from. I promise to work with each of our labor, our league, our employee bargaining units to further engage them, to deepen that, to work with them, and also establishing a survey within our own organization. For those that aren't on the working groups, or they feel that's not their portion of the world, how can they contribute, again, to improving us as a department? As for who Mike Moore is, let me just say that I come from, as has been described, some humble backgrounds. I've grown up across this great nation. I've seen, as a young child, many challenging circumstances. And what I know is I came to a department as a young man looking to make a difference. And for the past 36 years have felt that no other profession could have given me the amount of rewards that this department has. Over the coming days, inevitably my story will be told more, how I've grown up and seen the organization change, how I've grown up and changed. But today I would like to introduce a little more personal side of this, two very important people in my life. One could not be here today. She's going to school, which is right. It's a good thing. But I'm hoping she's watching on social media, and that is my daughter, Haley. And to Haley, if you're watching, I would just say I love you, and I hope to make you proud. The other most important person in my life is here today, is able to join me, and I'd like to introduce you to the woman who has stood by me for many years and has always been there to love and support me. And we frequently hear those words as we describe our husband or wife, our spouse, or significant other. But Cindy, I love you. I thank you for everything you've done, for always being there with me and supporting me. A couple more points and I'll be done. This was supposed to be short. one of the most important questions of the moment may be, why do I want to be the next chief of police for this great city? And it's pretty simple. I wish to continue the momentum in building trust, particularly in communities of color, and improving public safety while we build a more diverse and representative department, and in supporting the people of this department. The people of this department, there is no greater police department in the world. I have traveled not only across this country, but across this world, and I am convinced that while we don't always get a very difficult job right, our men and women come from the finest ethos and values, and they stand to make a difference. I am proud to have an opportunity to tell that story, and I look forward and cherish the moments that I'll be able to do that, because I do believe that in today's challenging environment that we can never do that enough. So the challenge for me was to ascend to this position, to have that opportunity, to continue the work in building the trust, and to get the resources and the awareness of the need for those resources identified into the men and women in our organization. As we do that, I am certain the safety of Los Angeles will be improved, the trust in our men and women will be improved, the confidence of our people will increase, and we will be that bright, shiny city up on the hill that every Angelino so much wants us to be. God bless you. Thank you for this tremendous opportunity. I am blessed. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. Los tres finalistas para el cargo de jefe de...
Right now listening to Mayor Eric Garcetti addressing the Spanish-speaking media. So basically from 31 candidates down to 3, down to the final. The wait is over. Mayor Eric Garcetti just announcing who will take over the nation's second largest police force. Michael Moore was officially given the honor just about 20 minutes ago.
Moore was born and raised right here in Los Angeles. He initially joined the LAPD back in 1981. He was in charge of patrol, gangs, vice, and the narcotics operations with the force. And we'll have plenty more on today's selection coming up on our sister station, CBS 2 News at 5. Breaking news, Sky 9 over a fast-moving fire in the Antelope Valley.